Hello.
Gabby.
Hello.
Hey.
How'd the whole filling go?
Pretty good. I used that bigger rock because where we used it, kind of by the pot shop, and when we backfilled in that driveway that we ripped up when we put in that big French drain, it packed down really well. So.
Okay. Your video stopped working.
So did yours.
There we go.
But yeah, there's something wrong. I do want you to come look at the backhoe. Something is, I don't know what it is. The smell is just terrible. If I'm ever in there for more than an hour, it's nauseating. And it wasn't like that last year, so I'm not sure what would have changed on it.
Okay.
It's like, it's bad.
All right, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
Well, everybody else ought to be joining us pretty soon. The other two, anyway.
Yep. When they're done, I'm going to give you a call because I got something else I got to talk to you about.
Okay. Looks like Tammy's joining us. Or trying to.
Am I there, Tay?
It looks like you're on here on audio, yes.
So you don't have video yet?
No.
No video.
Keeps not allowing me, so I chose the other option.
Let's see.
Still not there?
I can see your name. Let's see. It looks like you're transmitting video through the application, but maybe your camera's not working.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't see me.
Correct.
My phone says safe driving mode at the top, so I must have done something wrong.
Safe driving mode. Let me
Good
look
grief.
that up and see. Hang on.
Let me go to settings and fix the camera.
Let me see. You have an Android, is that right?
No, it's an iPhone.
Hold on. So, let's see. It says, I see Sarah. So it says swipe up from the bottom of the screen and tap the purple do not disturb icon, which looks like a moon. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Tammy. Hey, Sam.
Hi.
I'm working on it here.
Trying to get
The
Tammy's
moon?
video working.
All right, so I touched the moon and it turned purple.
Hmm.
Was it?
Let's see, hang on.
Okay, it just said turn off. Okay. Oh, my goodness. I know what you're talking about, though. It shouldn't be on.
Yeah, I don't have an iPhone, so I'm not very familiar with that.
I'm going to hang up and start over.
Maybe, yeah.
Let me try that. I'll go back to camera and check that. I'll be right with you.
Yeah, I've never done it from my iPhone.
How to turn off. Hmm. Yeah, I don't have an iPhone, so I'm just kind of looking up and guessing. I still don't feel good.
Seriously, huh? That sucks.
There we go.
Now it's working.
Okay. Can you say something, Tammy, just to make sure we have your audio?
Do you have my audio?
Yep, we have it all.
All right. It was user error. Sorry.
Okay, well, welcome everybody.
Hi, Sam.
Mr. Mayor.
Miss Sarah.
Hi, Tammy.
Sharon and I just wanted to get together with everybody to talk a little bit about how things are going to go from here on. We're going to have a little different approach than Lee did, and of course we're assuming that Sarah's going to get approved as Mayor Pro Tem, and that her and I are going to be the Personnel Committee. Maybe jumping the gun a little bit there because the board hasn't actually approved that yet, but I'm hoping that's the way it'll turn out. I'd like to be able to kind of get a fresh start here with everybody. I know there's been some bumps in the road getting everybody to work together. I've talked to Tammy and I've talked to Tay both separately about this, and everybody seems willing to give it a try and work together. And as far as I'm concerned, that's essential. It's got to happen. Neither one of you can effectively do your job without being able to work with the other. So I'm just going to ask that we try real hard for everybody to be able to get along and go from there. Any comments?
We will work together and try to move forward so we can get things accomplished.
Okay.
Hey, what are you thinking?
I guess we just have to see how it goes and hope for the best.
Well, you both bring a lot of talent to the table, and we all need to be able to work together. Got a lot of things that have been kind of neglected by the board up till now that need to be addressed. We'll start working on over the next several meetings.
Are there any new concerns or things that have come up since the last meeting?
I don't think anything really new. everybody's kind of anxious to see how things are going to go. Heard a lot of comments from different people, but nothing new. It just everybody will, I guess, concerned about how things are going to be, not only between us as a board and the town, but with what's going on in the world too.
It's a hard time. Everybody is kind of apprehensive, and fear of the unknown is a big, big topic. So I think just trying to go forward day by day and take care of things as they come up, and, you know, plan for the future as much as we can. But things are going to be a lot different, both in how we do business with the public and how they do business with us. So a lot of unknowns out there, but we're getting on the right track, and I will learn this electronic media and get better at it. So just let me know what you're thinking and what we need to work on and what direction we're going, so we can try to at least plan out for the next few days or a week.
Oh, one thing that I think is a big priority, and I've talked to Tay about it, and I know you have some input to put into it. I want to get the town's website back up and going. I think that's something that we need, particularly at this time, to be able to get information out to the public. And I believe Sarah's going to work with you some over this next week to get your ideas and make sure they're incorporated into it. And then hopefully in a week or so, we can look it over, and if everybody's happy with it, we can get it online.
That's great news. That's exactly what we need to get done. And if Tay can walk us through that and show us how to use it and be patient with the learning curve, that's how a lot of other agencies get a hold of us too. So that's a very, very good place to start. And we've really never had a workable website that we could provide what people are used to getting from local government websites. So it's a big step in the right direction.
To that end, I still have not heard back from Craig LeGros, and I CC'd you two on that email.
Oh, that's right. Yep, yep.
So maybe if you could give him a nudge again, like you did last time.
Haven't, you're waiting to hear from him then for the website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was not aware of that. I haven't talked to him this last couple days, but we were hoping to set something up for the end of this week for the office to get things taken care of here. So I can do that quickly and have him give her a call.
That would be much appreciated.
Yeah. Because he'll have to.
So is that all you're waiting on? Is you've not been able to get started, or?
No, he has some essential information that I need to be able to access, and actually he changed something a couple of weeks ago while we were on a phone conference, and it broke a bunch of things. So I've asked him to fix the change, and I've given him some code that would fix it, but I have not heard a response from him.
Okay, I will follow up with him for you.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess if you could ask maybe why he's not responding to my emails or my phone calls, because that's, I think it's pretty inappropriate.
I will talk to him.
Okay.
I have not spoken to him in the last week. So the last time I talked to him, he said to let him know whatever we needed. So yes, I will give him a call and see what's up.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure maybe he's just really busy running around setting offices up with.
He may be. So that's kind of why I went ahead and scheduled a time to get this one online. So he might just be too busy and not be responding for some other reason. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I will let him know that we need him to respond.
Okay.
imagine there's a lot of towns right now that are struggling with having to do the online meetings and stuff like that. So he's probably pretty swamped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not the only ones.
Well, at least we're lucky enough to have somebody with some knowledge in that area that got the meeting set up for us and everything. Thank you, Tay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
very much appreciate that.
And if you and Sarah can get together and kind of iron out those issues that you want addressed, she's going to put it in a document for me, so I have a framework to work with.
Okay, for the website.
Yeah, for the website, Tammy, maybe we could find a time a little later this week.
Can
Since
it
I
be
do
earlier
not-
than that? Because if you want me to have it ready by Monday, then later this week is pretty late.
That's
Okay.
a pretty tight schedule because I do not know the specific information that SIPA puts on the website or what makes it a compliant website, but I'm sure that I can find that out and I can forward it to you.
So Tammy, currently we've got a time scheduled with Tay on the 20th. And I don't think we want to push it out too much longer, but do you think the following week would be better for you to be able to get the
I
SIP?
have no idea, Miss Sarah. I'll check into it first thing in the morning. I'll put it on my
What,
list.
I guess, what's the concern of, like, what is it?
Well, last year when they put out the notice that we would be required to put electronic meeting notices and other public notices online, that there were certain guidelines for websites, and I just did not pay attention to them because I was not doing the website at the moment.
Uh-huh.
So when
Well,
Sarah
why-
told me that you were going to
so-
work on it, I just didn't pursue it any longer.
Okay, so because I guess whoever I might need to, that information should be easy for me to find, and whoever I'm going to be talking to is probably going to speak my language technically. So as long as I know that's what's needing to be addressed is the conformity for public notices on a municipal website.
And that's, like I said, I don't know the specifics. There could be more to that, but I can definitely give you the email to contact DOLA about that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
that will make more sense to you probably than to me and Sarah.
Yeah. So I'll follow that up. And is there anything else in particular?
As
One thing that
far as the
goes along,
website,
Oops.
one thing that kind of goes along with the website is getting us set up to be able to take payments for water and sewer through the website. And Tammy, you and I talked about that a little bit the other day, and you had some concerns about that.
well, my biggest concern is when we put the website and the public information out there that we don't have to change it in a month or two, or that we what we put out there is what we're going to keep for at least a 12-month length of time. So it's my understanding when you do the credit card bill pay on the SIPA website that it's actually the state internet portal, and it's not something that we have to pass a policy and have CIRSA insure us for. But at the moment, since we do not take credit cards and have a policy, we do not have that coverage through CIRSA.
So we don't need that coverage through CIRSA. We will actually not be taking credit cards. That's why we use a third party, and it's a third party processor that a number of the other water districts use here in Colorado. There's a couple of options available, but this one was it's free, and they were very helpful in setting everything up. And in any case, the biggest change that might happen in the 12-month period is there might be other providers that people say, hey, I use this one instead. I like this one. And if we can incorporate it, it gives anybody the options that they want to pay their bill.
Well, and the offering that they had on the DOLA website was for the SIPA portal. So
And that one through the state, that actually costs a significant amount of money. And that would be if we were processing, if we were taking the client's cards ourselves. We never have access to that information.
okay, I did not know what the specifics were, but we were in a contract when I first started, and it was costing us an incredible amount of money. So
Right.
as long as we are compliant and I can tell whose account the payment is going to go to,
Mhm.
that was the biggest thing that when I talked to Mary, that people are not used to putting their account number on there. So the biggest problems that they had was identifying payments. So if we can make it very clear how we identify your payment to your water bill account.
Yeah, all the required fields in order to use the service are first name, last name, service address, and account number. And there's a note on the on the form entry that says this is where your account number is located. It looks like this.
Okay. That is the only.
And phone number and email address in case we need to follow up with anything. So, and I made all of those fields mandatory.
Okay. As long as you know what you're doing and people can navigate it, I really don't care which service we use. I just felt more comfortable using the state portal because when I have a question or a problem, I can always get a hold of the state. And with DocSo, I have to wait for an email response. So
No, you can call them. Every time I've called them when I was setting it up, they call me back right away or they'll answer the phone right then and there. So.
okay.
It just sounds to me on the sideline that, you know, it's the unknown that's problematic. And I definitely understand not wanting to back up and try something different, but I suspect once we've got it in place, Tammy, and you get your hands on it, you're going to feel totally relieved.
Well, it will alleviate the problem of touching people's checks during a virus.
Right? True enough. Right.
That's one of the big reasons why I'm pushing to get this done, is because of what's going on right now. And I don't look for all of the restrictions to go away anytime soon. I mean, they may start opening things up a little bit around the end of the month, but I think we're going to be living with restrictions because of this for a long time to come.
I believe so. And people are just going to have to learn to do it whether they want to or not. So I'm sure that there will still be checks coming in and people who bring in cash. But for the most part, if I can do my work from home, that's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's another thing that I'd like to get set up here as soon as you can. And I don't know if that's something that Craig would do for us, or maybe Tay can help with, or whatever. But I want to get Tammy set up with all the tools she needs to be able to work from home. I want her to be able to have remote access, secure remote access to the town's computers from her home computer or laptop or whatever, to where when she's working at home, she can actually get something done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am at that point now. I've got a new computer. It has new software. Just a matter of having time to sit down with it and do it. Because unfortunately, if I don't answer the phone, people know where to knock on the door. And like with the water thing this morning, you know, it's just sometimes it's not something you can do from home. So as much as I can, though, I would like to be out of the office and taking a little time, because the last 2 pay periods, I've worked every Saturday for 4 weeks in a row. And so I'm ready to have some time off. And some of the things I can't do from home, like, you know, when I'm in the office and people are coming in for things like permits and inspections that we need to be here for. So if I can take a couple days in the next 2 weeks, though, before we open everything back up, you know, maybe we can all get caught up on some of the things that are just kind of lingering in the background. One of the biggest problems that I have in this office is I have 4 development applications that are coming, and all the research is done by hand here. We do not have a codified ordinance system. I cannot just look up regulations for a certain area. It's all very cumbersome. And one of the first orders of business should be the update to our building code. So it would be easier for me to answer people's questions and provide them the information they need, short of us using a 1991 version of the building code. So we've got 4 applications all of a sudden for new buildings, and we haven't had a new building since they put the transfer station together and put it up. So
That's something that Leah and I had discussed in depth at some point in time before some other things came up about adopting, what is it, the ISO?
it's
Which one?
the International Residential Code, or the IRC, and that's what the county is using. And if we could at least get caught up with the county.
Do you know which year it is?
I'm pretty sure the county is using 2015, unless they've recently adopted 2019. But we
highly
can find that
recommend
out.
Like there's most bigger towns are, I think they're on 2000. Well, I'll look into it. Anyway, Lee and I were looking into it about sending me off, or not sending me off, but doing the continuing education thing to get certified in that building code so that we have an official person that can interpret it and
It's
interpret it. And he also wanted to then I would be available too if there was like some inspection questions that needed to be answered. So that's,
I think the furthest we got with it was that we would try and update to at least what the county had updated to. So we also need the certified local government ordinance, and that goes right along with that. So I don't know if there's public money available for grants. TJ and I didn't speak about codifying all that and getting the codes updated, but it is something that's on the applications for being reimbursed, you know, and for all the different things that are coming up now. So if we could get that update done and maybe get a couple other things up to where the rest of the world is, like business licenses we talked about with the Airbnbs, just so that we have a list of them and can try to keep track of the numbers and the you know, it's not just water billing and parking. They're having a lot of other issues surrounding the portable neighborhoods is what they call it.
well, and with the Airbnb thing, that's something that should definitely be brought up with the board, because they, you know, they utilize a lot of maintenance resources and they don't pay in. And if we were to institute some kind of system where we're tracking it, you can work with Airbnb. If we did a bed tax, they handle all of that.
Right.
It's really simple. If your Airbnb is in this zip code,
Right.
they have to charge the tax if we impose the tax, and then the money comes directly to us, not through the homeowner.
And the county is actually who keeps track of it. They can tell me if a property is being used for that purpose through the tax categories, but it would be nice if Silver Plume wanted to put a pillow tax or add on a lodging tax, that they would be able to do that pretty easily. So, and safety, I think, goes along with the code as far as, you know, people servicing the apartments and the little garage apartments with things like extension cords when the public is going to be staying in there as lodging. So I think a lot of questions come up when you start the conversation.
This is something that I've been working on with Rick Caldwell, trying to put something together to present to the board to get the wheels turning. I hope to be able to do that within the next meeting or two. So we're working on it.
Okay, well, we've got a good direction to start moving, so we can try and plan for the future and set goals accordingly. And if Tay can help with that, that's more than makes me happy.
It's the 2015 IRC IBC. So
15.
Cool. That's what you thought, Tammy. So you guys, before we go too far away, Tammy, from setting you up at home, I just want to remember to come back to it, because I wanted to ask a question or two on that after we finish this discussion.
Okay.
As far as updating the building code, Tammy, why don't you put that on the agenda for the next meeting? Not this one tonight, but in 2 weeks, which is the same meeting that we're going to have the pre-application conferences for these 4 buildings. So put that on before the pre-application conferences, and we'll see if we can get that updated and put in place.
Okay, there's 3 buildings. Actually, Miss Sarah's will be a separate planning and zoning meeting. And we will get that as soon as I can get the people together, Miss Sarah.
That'd be great, Tammy.
You're on my list.
One thing that I just remembered that I need is a list of all of the all of the boards and their respective members and their
Okay.
contact information, and preferably just emails, not phone numbers.
Okay,
And I know, Tammy, this is down the line as well, that we are aiming towards people having municipal email addresses. Is that correct?
it is. I just haven't had a chance to sit down with Craig. That's on my list of things to do as soon as we finish this switch over.
So when I spoke with Craig about what the town is going to take back over as opposed to his duties and what he wants to let go of, the emails go along with all of the web services.
Oh, good.
So
that's good.
I'm in the process of putting all of that together.
Cool.
But I still need him to respond to me because the error that he has that's showing up that was made means that whatever I put together won't work until I'm able to get the input that I need from him.
So control of the computers and the website and the emails will all be your purview then?
Not the computer,
here on
not the
out?
hardware. He manages all the hardware. He doesn't do websites or emails or anything like that. That's not his wheelhouse. He said he started doing it a while back as a favor for Fred. Is that
Right, and he was actually part of, he knows our water billing software very well. So
I'm not going to do anything with the water billing software or anything like that. It's strictly any of the web services, which includes emails.
okay, that's fine. I am not qualified to be running a website, so obviously, if you have more experience, that's your purview. I have no problem with it. The one thing that I do know when I first started, and Lee is the one who explained this to me, is they used to have personal emails, which got out of hand. And so if the emails are coming through this office and then going out to them, they're not getting advertisements and they're not getting duplicate emails from different places, say like within the county, but the overload of emails to board members and people at the town staff. Yeah, I mean, is there any place in there for someone to go through all these emails and know what's going on with them? Or is that just up to the individual receipt?
I'm not quite following you. So are there current email accounts that haven't been looked into in a number of years? Is that what you're saying?
Well, right now I correspond with Sarah through her personal email.
Yeah.
The board at Silver Plume email has been removed because we weren't using it. So at the point where it just opens up and everybody gets emails from all of these agencies, if I'm taking the emails in the morning and sending them out to the board, I know what you've been receiving. I know how many copies of that email you've gotten. And so I'm just wondering how it will work if everybody has their own email address within the town structure. How will anybody know what anybody else has been made aware of or received?
I'm having a little trouble following you. It would be exactly the same as if Sarah used her personal email. Only the difference is right now Sarah's personal emails are all open to FORA requests. If somebody comes in and says, "I want to go look at Sarah's emails. I think that she did something nefarious. I'm going to get a court order." Now all of Sarah's emails are open to.
Right.
And so in order to try to eliminate that, what I will do is, what Sam asked me to do is make sure everybody's set up so that it's actually functioning correctly if they do have a town email. And if we are going to communicate there's a couple of different options, and it'll probably be some trial and error because we don't have a very technically savvy group, but it's not going to be any less insecure or researchable, you know, like what I think you're saying than it is now. I mean, if you
Well, in the month before this virus hit, the state emails were hacked and we were getting invoices from Department of Revenue, something that they wanted you to click on a link or open an attachment. And as a clerk, we know that we're not getting an invoice from DOR. So we noticed it right away as a phishing scam. So if I am looking at the email list and I am forwarding things on to the board members, I kind of recognize where they're coming from. And the clerk at Silver Plume email is attached to literally every function of computer things that I do. So
it won't change.
if the board members are getting the same information that I'm getting simultaneously, do I know that they've received it? Is there a way to know?
I mean, if the only way that they would get that information simultaneously is if somebody specifically sends it to them, in which you could look into just like we send group emails and we see there's 7 recipients. I mean, I don't understand your question.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's going to start sending new emails to board members just because they have an email address. And to that end, I don't think the communication is actually going to be through email specifically, but more through a mailing group, which is absolutely trackable, and it's much more transparent, and it's much easier to see who is reading what, and then yes, once you do send it to that group, if for example Frank has a responsibility to read one of those things, well then it's gone out to him. But I don't see one of your contacts reaching out to Frank independently and sending a multiple of something that you were trying to forward to him.
I think that it came up when the board members had a board at Silver Plume email address. If you have inquiries or questions of your board members, please send a request to this email. So it all went into board at Silver Plume or mayor at Silver Plume. The ones that come in here, I have a bookkeeper address and a clerk address. So I can tell whether it's come into both of them, or you know what I mean? It comes up on the one screen, but I know it came to the bookkeeper. So
let me, I mean, what I can do is walk you through it. I think I hear what you're saying, and the solution to that is to make sure on anything that goes to the board that you're CC'd on, and that actually eliminates some of the workload. Is there's really no need if somebody's has a specific conversation going on with the Board of Adjustments that it should go to your email address and wait for you to file it out, when it could go to the board directly, and then you have a copy of it so that you're, because you're the clerk, you have to have a copy of all that information and know what's going on.
Right.
So yeah, but at this moment, none of that's set up, so it's not ready for a walkthrough in that.
That's correct. We shut those down so that I could review them and send them out to people individually. So yes, it would put everyone's Cora thing out front, which is why we tried to use that as little as possible. Does that make sense?
Well, right now we've got it backwards, because everything you send out to Sarah's personal email is, and it's not just what you send to her, it's everything on her computer. So
well,
if we're utilizing town addresses, then they can't go look into her other stuff.
Okay.
It's no longer legitimate.
Okay. So the way we had it set up before was a safeguard, because I am not qualified to recognize when we're being hacked or when there's a problem. So I went strictly by the guideline of use the email as little as possible for things back and forth. So that is kind of why I don't keep responding and going back and forth, because I would rather talk to you in person so I can sort through the problem.
Does it? I mean, we can't just tell our constituents that, like, oh, sorry, I'm gonna have to talk to you in person. And the reason why people prefer to use email is because it's documented.
Right.
So,
But say, well, like with a zoning inquiry, it's kind of nice to know what's coming in the door so that we know what's going on. And
and that won't change. That's what
okay,
I'm trying to say. I don't, there's no change in that. So I'm not sure if, for me, sometimes I have to see something work to understand it. And maybe when you see it work, you'll understand that there's nothing changing in that sense.
okay,
The domain name that I put the website on is just a phonetically easier one to use, and we'll own both of them, and they both go to the same place. They're not duplicates. They actually only go to the same place. Does that make sense? It's a back end thing. It's kind of a card trick on the front end. You can enter through both doors, but it takes you to the same building.
that's a very sweet way to put it. I have a very simple understanding of how it's all set up, and I have absolutely zero programming or coding experience. So if you show me how to use something, I can navigate through it and use it. But troubleshooting and trying to get in to something when the password doesn't work is just not something I'm cut out for doing. So when I speak to someone and I can hear their questions, find out what it is they're trying to find out. The second problem that I came up with a minute ago of being able to look things up in a manner like we do in the land use code, the number of inquiries and the things that come in, not all the time, but sometimes it takes research to answer someone's question. So when they look at our website, for instance, the old website, and they have to call me and inquire about how do we set up Board of Adjustment meetings and where do we start the process and who do we contact about other things. So maybe we don't have everything in place to be able to provide a comprehensive explanation of how the process works. So does that make sense to you? I mean, I'm going by what I've gotten in the last 4 weeks for 4 brand new developments within the town. And our planning zoning board is not something that meets every 2 weeks and stays up on what's going on.
Correct.
So
What I've seen of what Tay has set up for the town's website, a lot of that information will be on there and will be easy to access. It should
yes,
take away a
will.
lot of the people asking you questions because they'll be able to find that information on the website.
Correct. And so as far as being able to disseminate information to folks and make it easy to use, we're about halfway there, because as far as building permits, we have the land use code to refer to. But as far as almost every other topic out of the town hall here, besides minutes and meeting agendas, most of the records people are looking for are on paper in the cabinets. So
And then they'll have to call you just like they would right now.
That's what I mean.
On the site. Yeah, so it just says on the site, like here, like I mirrored the old site. I took all the information from the old website and put it to try to put it on this one in a format that doesn't look like a 12-year-old did it. But it simply says these are the Board of Adjustment members. So and I think that behooves people to know who if they have a simple question, like I want to know who's on our Board of Adjustments and on our zoning board. I don't even know that, and people ask me in the street and it's like, well, I have no freaking clue. I don't know who's on those lists. So I can't remember names.
Okay.
And lists and things like that. And so they're not going to use it to contact or do any business to that. In fact, what it says right there is contact the town clerk if you need XYZ.
Right. It's just a paper list that I gave to everybody after the last election, and I realized that's been a couple of years ago. They put John Buznitz on the Board of Adjustment just in time for him to have to abstain from his own case. So we haven't had so many changes. And I will get you a list. I can email that to you. But if we put the right information on there so that people can access what they need without having to contact me. That cuts down on my workload significantly. So that is fine with me if you can show me how to use it and show me how to update the forms. We literally have done absolutely zero work on the website information in all that time.
14. That's the
I,
last
I seem to remember that we had an election, we seated a board, and then 3 people resigned. Then we appointed 3 members and we just moved on. So my fault for not being able to get to that kind of thing or update us at all, but it's very busy at times, and then other times it's not that busy. So when I start to make a little progress, we just went off in a different direction, that's all. So it's exciting and I'm looking forward to it. And if you can get everything working and keep it working, I will do whatever I need to do to help that happen.
Yeah, and it's we're dealing with a limited budget as far as, you know, what we have to, what the town is willing to commit towards building that out. But so I think it will be a work in progress. It should be dynamic anyway. It should never be considered finished. It should always be updated and what have you. But what you're going to get now is a framework where it can be updated.
Well, considering that one of my computers is nearly 25 years old and the other one's been, they've increased the hard drive in this one so many times that it takes 4 days just to back up my Outlook file. That, you know, being able to switch over and use new software and new programs will cut down significantly on the amount of time that I have to spend on individual tasks. My biggest problem is nothing Google have I ever been able to sign into. Even when you were here in the office, we wrote it down. We immediately tried to sign back in, and I don't know why it is that I cannot recognize what's going on or what's been, you know, what I've done wrong, but it's literally just very frustrating to need to do something and not be able to do it. So as far as just getting the information out, getting the meeting done, and getting through our weekly tasks this time, you know, right now, it's very challenging. The thing with the water this morning, I was so thankful was not an emergency, but on that same level, just getting regular everyday things done has been a challenge with not being able to see people or go places. Does that make any sense?
Uh-huh. Oh,
Um,
I had a question that you might be able to answer, Tammy. Did you get a call out from the alarm, or did John contact you this morning?
I called John when I got the first voicemail this morning.
Who and where?
John said that he didn't get any alarms this morning. He said there's something wrong with the system that he didn't get the alarms. He said he had alarms on Friday and they dealt with it. The power company was doing some work replacing a pole up there or something, and the electricity had gone off, and he got alarms on Friday, and then they had it all straightened out Friday, and he said the power must have gone off again after that, and they didn't get any alarms. And he said that's something that they've got to investigate and figure out why. But
I do not deal with any of the water plant computers. John's got a company that does his programming and another company that does our electrical work. So the alarm is between John and the water plant, and he will take care of that for us. He said he would take care of the alarm problem. He's not sure why either, but it probably has something to do with the computer at the water plant.
Yeah, if the power went down, and he said the tank was empty, I think. So, to that end, I was going to ask you, Sam and Sarah, if they can put one of our main numbers on the alarm. So at least we're aware, not that we're going to go and do anything about it. There are certain things that John showed me how to check, and that would be important. If we did have a main line break, it would be nice to have the alarm to let us know that the tank levels are low, because at that point we need to cease water usage, or else we end up having to do a boil order and all that stuff. So it would just be nice to know, because there's things that we could do, like look at the levels and see, you know, how much time we have and mobilize.
Well, at the moment, the protocol is a call to me in the middle of the night, and then I would call Lee and get him up, and then we'd go down the line from there. So a lot of times it's something like when we ran out of gas, and he said this time it was just the reset was not happening. The plant would reset itself in this case, and he could communicate with it on his phone, but because it wasn't resetting, he couldn't do that. And like I said, I don't deal with the computer at all, other than processing the invoices for the people that do work on it for him. So I'm sure that they could put someone's number in the call down. And I'm sure that his and his assistant is probably the first two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I am supportive of, you know, not doing too many connections, but having a backup to a backup, especially during a time like this. And especially, I'm thinking about what is the name of the COCO document that we had, the county gal suggested we have in place, you know, essentially it's establishing that you've got depth in response to some of these emerging kinds of things. And this, to me, is one of those things. So, you know, maybe we don't resolve it just now, but I think it's worth looking at explicitly. And one, making sure that the board understands what our, you know, our process is when there's an emergency with the water system. Two, has the opportunity to, you know, say, well, could we add, as Tay just suggested, you know, one of the, you know, the road and bridge person, the mayor pro tem, whatever it is, in addition to you, Tammy. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm very supportive of having a depth of response for things like that.
I think
you know,
we gotta have at least 3 numbers on the call list. Tammy's already there. We gotta have Tay and we gotta have me to get a call when there's an alarm. That way we've got it covered by 3 people.
Yeah.
And one of the 3 of us ought to be able to figure out how to handle it.
I've been doing my on my own. I've been studying the water distribution 1 certification.
Cool.
So
Cool.
resources there, and there's things that John showed me to like be able to look at in case, because he has towns all over the place that he's monitoring water for. So if he's 4 hours away or something and his other person's 3 hours away, you know, it is nice to go say, oh my God, our tank levels are low, or oh, we're okay, we don't need to hit the panic button yet.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I believe that we had emergency response for water system in place long before we had emails. So I'm sure that if he didn't get a response from me, he would call down the list, and he's got everybody's number as well.
But it's if John's not available, so that we actually have notification. So he gets a call out from the computer automatically. That's where he gets his thing to call you, Tammy. So
Right.
you can also get that notification here in Silver Plume.
Right. And you know, we've had alarms all through the last 4 or 5 years. It's just when the tank gets low, like when we have a water break or when it completely empties it. But if we had to do a boil order or something like that came up, I'm pretty sure that that would just be an instance where you had to come to work in the middle of the night.
Absolutely. What I was saying, all I'm saying is, like, we're not going to be responsible for dishing out that order. That's going to be up to John, of course, but we can, as a town, if he's for some whatever reason incapacitated, or like last year there were the avalanche people, you know, mobily, we have such a small town, we can easily go door to door and say, hey, don't use the water right now, we're having not a problem, you know. It's just something
that's
just in case.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's actually the protocol, is to go door to door and hit the businesses first and the residences second. So There's also a calling tree kind of on each street. um, if you notice, when we did the last emergency with the flooding, Marty came up with the idea to just call your neighbors. So if each board member calls a few neighbors, it pretty much covers, almost everyone in town. So for that kind of thing that we hope never happens, I'm trying to get my computer equipment up to date so I can at least have a coherent list of people and their emails and their phone numbers. And then we could probably move on to other bigger and brighter things.
So can I interject here, you guys? Because I'm watching the clock. We have about 7 minutes left. And Tammy, that sounds great. And Sam, going back to what you said about, adding you, Tay, and Tammy's already on the list. Is that an action we want to take and call it good for now? Or do we recognize this is something that, we need to advise the whole board about? Because one,
It's
it's
something that we should that we can handle between ourselves, and yeah, I think we should add those names
okay.
to the call list.
Okay. So
All right.
who's going to do that?
I can call John if you'd like.
Okay, if you take care of that, I'd appreciate it.
I sure will.
Cool. And Sam, I wanted to go back to Tammy and home and setting up her computer.
Yeah.
Tammy, I heard what you said for sure. I want to make sure we support you in any way. We want to make sure we support you in any way we need to. What I remember you saying is all you need to do is do it. I mean, can you do it, or do you need Craig to help put things together?
I'm not sure what it is you want me to actually do.
Okay, so if I'm hearing Sam right, you want to be able to access the work you have ongoing here at your computer in Silver Plume remotely from your home.
I can already do that.
Sam,
I've been doing that for the last several years. I do not do water billing or QuickBooks at home. I do not take water bill deposits home to enter them. I do letters, I type minutes, I take care of phone calls and getting back to people. And I'm now able to check my town email on my personal computer.
That's what I was.
So all the security concerns and everything that we've observed in the past no longer apply. So I can pull up my emails at home and check for daily things and notices. I can get information out to the board members, but what I'm not going, I don't want to work Saturdays and Sundays. I need a day off, at least one.
Yeah, Tammy, I wasn't suggesting that at all in what I was asking. I was under the impression that you couldn't access your email, your town email, or send from your town email from your home computer.
I had it set up so that I did not do it that way. So Craig said that he could easily fix that and change things up. And when I got the new computer, I had to install software that was compatible. I wanted to start out with what I was using here. So that is finished and done, but I haven't had like a whole hour to sit down with it and get through it or try any of the new things out that I am not familiar with. I can easily enough pull up Excel or Word and take care of a task, but as far as sitting down and having time after work to explore video meetings and set things up myself, I've had zero time to do that.
No, I was just trying to understand what you were, I was under the impression, Tammy, that you were not connected to the office.
That was the understanding that I had too.
So that's,
I am connected now. In the past, people had to send a copy to my personal email. Yes.
But you're not actually working on the town's computer. Is that correct? You're working on your personal computer with no dial into the office. You're just checking your email on your computer.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's not a connection to the. So if we need a VPN or something, we could use a if that's what. Is that what you're asking, Sarah? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to really be able to log into Department of Revenue from my home. I would just as soon do some of that work in the office. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Tammy, the only reason there's hesitance about that is making sure that you are able to do enough of your job at home that it makes sense for you to be home the amount you're home. I mean, that's
Well,
to put it in a nutshell. So if you cut out the kinds of things that you can do at home, then it's harder for, unless we understand more about what you actually do at home. And you gave a good list, but that's the concern. We want to, one, make sure that you have the flexibility to take home what you were not able to do at the office, which might be any number of things. So allow you flexibility, but also in this time of COVID, if you are going to be spending more time at home, we want to make sure that you're able to do more of your job so that you can make your money, if that makes any sense. So it's like it is both a benefit to the town, but it's also a benefit, we hope, to you, so that you have that flexibility.
right.
So Tay, it is, I want the same. I'm able to connect with my office, my organization's computer from home with a VPN.
Yes.
And yes, I do a shitload on my own computer, and then I reconnect with the VPN periodically. But that's what I was thinking of. And Sam, I don't know if that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
When I think of the things that I've tried to get done in the last couple of weeks, there's very little that I cannot do from home. But there's a lot of public interaction, and there's a lot of just being in the office. When I don't come in the office, people generally will stand outside the door and call me and ask me their questions. I can easily enough respond with Tim, for building inspections and things like that. So I'm not sure what else kind of, other things that I would need to access at home. Like checking the banks, doing the bank statement and doing the QuickBooks from my home on my laptop. Just kind of a connection I didn't want to make between my personal and professional life.
So what I wonder is, Tammy, whether we shouldn't buy you another computer that is the town's computer that you set up at home, so that when you're sitting down at that computer, that's town work. And when you're sitting down at your own computer, it's totally you. I mean, it's just a thought.
I think that's
Unfortunately, I guess I'm one of those people like Marty that needs a little bit of time away from the screen. And if I can pick up the phone and talk to you for 5 minutes and avoid 27 emails, I prefer to do it that way, only because, the last thing I kind of want to do, like today, is go home and use my 2 hours between now and the meeting to be on the computer for some reason. A lot of what I do is just kind of in person, and I'm sure that I would form into that kind of role. I don't really understand. There's not a whole lot else that I can do other than try to organize things and catch people up to date with what's going on and come up here and print a notice to put on the door.
Gotcha.
Yeah. A lot of what I have to come in here for every day is to check for notices and to log into the bank accounts and go pick up the mail, at the mailbox. So there's a lot of things that I do in a physical sense every day. Kind of balance out my computer time with that, because in the evenings when it's quiet and I can concentrate, I get a lot more done.
Yeah, sure.
When
Yeah.
I missed your email the other day because I was sifting through an ungodly amount of crap from, places I've shopped, and TGS thinks I need an update every day because they've got my email. But, I go through and I delete all the junk mail that I see, and then I have to go back and pick out the things that are actual correspondence and things with deadlines on them. So at the moment, I'm just having a little struggle of keeping up with all the requests and all the, could you just send me something? And
Right.
it's a lot less about logging into my email at home than it is getting the deposits in the computer and in the bank.
Gotcha.
So,
Sam,
and
Sam, did
a
you-
lot of that too, some of us older folks, we write it down, we read it, we speak it, and then we know it. So I kind of know what's going on with your water bill account because I handled your check and I wrote it on the deposit slip and then I entered it. So on the other hand, then they become more dependent on the computer because I don't really know what's going on with you and I don't remember when you made your last payment. So it's really no different than being way too busy to get to everything, but I'm sure that I can adapt to that if you want to set it up that way.
Yeah, no, understood, Tammy. Yeah, sorry. So I appreciate the elaboration for sure. Sam, did you have something? Tay, did you have something?
The only thing I was thinking was we could easily put together a VPN tool so that the work is being done, though the screen would be and the mouse would, like, just like your VPN is Tammy's personal computer. She's actually working on the town.
So what does VPN do?
It's called a virtual private network. And like
Okay.
Sarah, when she pulls up her machine and she has to do work for her business, probably because they're legal, they require it to be on a VPN. She has to do her work on their VPN. She's basically, she is seeing the screen and the programs and all of the things that she has access to from her office at work, but she can see them at home on her computer and actually interact with them at home.
Right. So I use my laptop for things other than work. So maybe it would be a better idea to just set this up on a separate computer with a separate email and do it that way. I got the new computer mostly because we could not download the software that runs the helicopter program to the old one. So, I use it constantly for other things, and other people use my computer. My husband uses it. So, we can talk about that, but for now, if I had to miss a couple days in the office, I could do 90 to 100% of my work, other than the money. The money going in the deposit is really a very small issue. It's not something that's urgent at all. But if I was sick, or I had surgery or something, I can see where that would be a big benefit. So things could still get done.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sam, what are you thinking?
Anybody
Yes,
there?
sir.
Say what, Sam?
I just lost all audio on Tammy. Is mine the only one, or is it my computer? Or
I can
Did you
hear
lose
you.
me?
Tammy, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
it's better now. It must be.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's got a slow connection, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Did we lose him?
Sam,
Okay.
you're a little slow. We can't hear you.
His little mark was red and I couldn't hear him either.
Huh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I think my internet connection is getting bad.
It's been an ongoing problem here. That's kind of why I was just waiting for our new tower before I started to learn any of this stuff. So
Yeah.
this is a new experience. I've never really done a meeting on Zoom before, so I did a little better than the Saturday Night Live ladies. My kids get a big kick out of it, but thank you, Tay, for your patience and your help with all of this new video stuff. And we will get up to speed so that we are coherent and at least can operate it intelligently.
Yeah, it takes a little time to get used to, and even I have to set it up and test it and make a few mistakes and
That's the part that I have not explored yet. So, yes, I appreciate your help very much.
Sam,
All right.
Sam, did you have anything? Sorry.
I think we've hit on about everything that I was thinking about. I think it's been a good meeting. I'm glad to see people working together and getting along, and I think it's a good start. Let's keep it up and see everybody at the meeting tonight.
Is there anybody in particular that are there any outside people dialing into the meeting that I was?
The only person, Tay, that I am aware of that might dial in is the emergency response guy, Brian, whose last
Okay.
name I'm forgetting.
Brian Mansour.
Mansour, right. Billy McCormick, my housemate's been talking with him about some of the preparedness that emergency response and stuff has been going through. And I don't know whether he connected with Brian or if Brian plans to come, but he was possibly going to be there, possibly going to share some public comment type information on what ER folks are doing.
Okay.
Is that the incident response team or is that something different?
That's something different. The incident response team is something that Sasha brought up before she was voted in as a board member. And it was something that I think she was talking with Kelly Babian or something at some point in the not too distant past. And they both remembered that we used to have an incident response team in place, and that particularly with circumstances now, maybe it's an appropriate time to revisit the need. So she'll have a comment or two to share about that, but that's what that is.
Okay. The current incident response plan. The current response plan was that Lee and I would go to the county and sit in on the meeting, and then we would deal with whatever disaster. After that, you go to the board meeting, and you've already declared your disaster.
Okay.
So we should be safe for this incident. But yes, you have no firemen left. And although you have equipment here, you just have Kelly that's authorized, and regular citizens cannot just get in that equipment and operate it, even if it's an emergency. So that would be a very good thing to do, and get at least 3 people, because you'll need 3 people for a fire truck. So, and we probably should be encouraging people to inquire about being volunteers again, so that we at least have a couple firemen up here.
Right, right.
Ricky was your emergency response team before, so it's been many years since he left and we've been uncovered.
Right.
So, okay, I just hope that we had everything we needed for tonight. Is it going to be a Zoom meeting, or are we going to do it on the telephone like last time?
Tay set us up with a Zoom meeting, I believe, and it also allows people to call in by phone if they need to.
Is there a time limit, Tay?
No, there's no time limit.
Okay. And
Tammy,
I have not been contacted by anybody that had questions, so I'm assuming that there are no other inquiries.
If you use that link on your personal computer or what have you, one of the options is you can actually phone in and participate by phone audio, which kind of eliminates some of this cutting out, but then we can still see. But I don't know if you have a video, a camera on your laptop.
I can try that here. I was going to come up to town hall
Yeah.
to do the meeting in case Frank wanted to come over. I think Lee's got it figured out, although I haven't talked to him.
It's, is he supposed to come? Is John Buzenich supposed to come, the old board members?
The old board members should be there for old business. I moved the minutes up to old board business.
Oh,
And then I cut it into old business and new business. So
Okay. I
if
don't-
Sasha could just make him sit there while she calls in.
Okay,
I sent Marty the information because Chris Bradley was going to help him get set up with his new Chromebook.
yes, and he got set up, he said.
Okay, good.
So, all righty, so I'm not sure if,
Do I need to come up here? I can just get the check signed tomorrow if that's okay.
yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why you should come up, Tammy, but I'm Sam, you tell us now, but I was going to say, I didn't realize that it was old board members coming for this meeting. So can we send, well, you did that, Tammy. All the old board members were on the correspondence, weren't they?
They were.
Okay. I'm
They were.
just.
So maybe if they want to tune in and then hang up after that's over, I guess
Got it.
an option for them, a public thank you for them.
I'm behind a step. I apologize. Cool.
That's okay. It's been that kind of a day from the beginning, I tell you. Tay, was there anything else you need me to do besides have Craig to give you a call?
Just nudging Craig and also the list of the various board members.
Okay, I'll send you the list here in a few minutes and I'll get a hold of him.
Great. And Tammy, you'll see I sent a note while we were talking. I was not coordinating well. So you'll see I already sent a note to Craig, but it was me being, did I miss something kind of email. So.
You know, I have not talked to him till I guess it was the week before the election. So I will follow up with a phone call and see if
Cool.
he's available.
Good. Just know that I sent that email. You'll see it.
Okay. I haven't
Okay.
seen anything pop up yet, but we're
Right.
like Sam. Sometimes we have a good connection. Sometimes we don't. We will keep
Cool.
trying.
Okay, are we good?
Mhm.
Good.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Tay.
thanks. I'll end this meeting now.
All
See
right.
you
Thank
later. Bye. Thanks, Kay. Bye.
you. Bye.
See you, Sam.
I think it's
You
really.
still need to talk to me, Tay?
Yeah. Do you want me to just call you on the phone?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.